This is the expanded version where you go into your own gene key and line for each and every sphere. And you also have the opportunity to go into that sacred union that we have between design Venus and design Saturn in the middle of the chart, which is what Richard said to me years ago. Bella, you should just work with that. It was a revelation when I started to look at the dynamics that happen between our gene keys in those two positions, but also the lines, how the lines can help balance each other or completely pull each other down. Similar, actually, as we see in the attraction sphere, in the chemistry between you and somebody else in the attraction sphere. This is what happens on the inside in you, inside of your inner masculine feminine, when you look at your Venus and your Saturn. If you watch the two introductory videos in the course, one is connected to just the Gene Keys way of looking at the pathway of individuation. But in the other one, which is that webinar that Ash and I added this year, we're going to see, in terms of human design, we could also look at the middle pillar. And it's about coming home to your definition, whether that is on the sides or on the top or on the bottom, or you're completely white as a reflector, or you are completely defined as an emotional manifesting generator. It is to come home to your definition and also to be able to start to breathe and feel and circulate the energy, which is similar as we know from meditation and the Hindu system with the chakras, the 7 chakras. If you're going to be able to find a way of feeling into and integrate that inner union in the kind of heart center, if you're going to be able to tap into your sacral center in terms of human design and your attraction sphere in terms of the gene keys, you are going to need embodiment practices. So you are going to start to be able to breathe and feel your spine, because spinal breathing is very simple. Just breathe and feel and maybe change direction. That's something I would love you to do on an everyday basis. You could use Wim Hof. You could use simple fire breath where you just breathe out through your nose fast. Any kind of breath work, any kind of intention to the spine is important. That is what as simple as circulation, Kundalini activation. Doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Start to use your voice. Pearl sequence. It's your voice. So we have the brand, we have the pearl. You want to start to use your voice, not only with words, although invocations can be really powerful, but also other kinds of vibrations and sounds. This is about increasing the bandwidth of your vocal cords. And then as we are working in this middle pillar, whatever is numb, whatever is pushed away is going to start to want to be alive. So this is where there can come anger, there can come like repression that opens up, like all these things. When we start to purify the vessel in the vertical pillar, it can be really good to have that possibility to be able to release in some way, to go out in the forest and use your voice, or just like lay down on the ground and speak to her and feel into her, shaking, all kinds of things that allow the astral body to feel cleaner. Especially if you have a lot of open centers, this is going to be super important. And then as we're starting that energy with more movement, it's also very important to be able to ground and dare to be in our lower chakras, which is meeting, facing everything that's in the root, survival, fears, everything has to do with that, competition, maybe even like entities and that kind of things, if you've had to do with that. The sacral center, it's about your sexuality, your sensuality, being home there. And then your fire, light and dark, your kind of devil energy that can be in that determination, that desire of their solar plexus. So integrating what we might be ashamed of in those centers and grounding into that part of us, allowing the dragon's tail to start to grow into the earth and like rest on the earth. Many of us have that energy, but we haven't put down our dragon's tail yet. This is very important. You can do it on your own. I am also creating a guided journey where we will have half an hour of embodiment practices and 30 to 60 minutes of similar to today questions and a little bit more reflections, maybe even mirroring with a couple of people in a breakout. So the next 7 weeks, actually, I think I have 3 people right now. This is going to be intimate and fun. It's the same time every Tuesday where we anchor this pathway into our lives. So that's something you can do, but I just want to put this here because if you're going through all this 17-hour of content, I would like it to not only be theoretical, I would like it to be embodied. And these are the powerful practices for this specific pathway in the middle. So to be able to anchor that. And with your invocations, of course, you can use the keywords of your gene keys in your middle pillar. And that's what I hope at the end of the call today, we're going to be able to shed some light and understanding individually for all of you. Like, where are you anchored? What is the voice that wants to speak? Remember from that extra webinar that Ash and I did, that it's all about the Trivian being and the transformation that's happening in the solar plexus center, so that we can come more into our center, be home with our life force, feel into our G, whether it's open or defined. Who are we? Where are we going? What is love? And then the essence of what we are, being able to express that out in the world. This is a Trivian being. Richard speaks about it. Ross speaks about it. We're coming into center. And that is connected to how we are going from the cross of planning to the cross of the sleeping phoenix. You have this in that webinar. This is important to understand. We are always unlocking the cross of the Sphinx and the cross of the vessel of love. Those are the keys in, or the locks in the G center. We are always unlocking the witness, the way, the plan, the pattern, the leader, the temple, the example, and our nature. In the cross of planning, how we unlocked it was through these gates. You see 9, 16, 37, and 40. And then there's always a secondary cross because of the equinoxes. There are always two crosses. The two new crosses are going to be the cross of the sleeping phoenix that is now going to unlock these locks. So we have 20, 34, 55, 59 are going to unlock everything we want, the G center, who we are, what love is, where we're going. And then we have the cross of penetration that is unlocking the secondary cross, the other that comes from the other equinox. So those gene keys are going to be very important for you in the next phase of everybody's life. So that is also something to know. Those are catalysts for unlocking this middle pillar for all of us. This is also part of the webinar, understanding the tantric channels, whether you have them or not. This is about our primal life force being circulated and sublimated in our chakra pillar. It's not just up, like sometimes Richard says in the 59, everything is sublimation. Well, everything is sublimation, but everything is circulation. We are in this 53 in the transits right now. We know that if there are beginnings, there have to be endings. It's cyclic. So to learn, to understand, to feel, to cycle the life force. When we do that, when we become really clean, the meeting place in the heart for soul and spirit, that's what we become. The heart, the body becomes the vessel for that. So soul is everything that's individuated, that your soul remembers from past lifetimes. It's very connected to the emotional body, the astral body, the soul, the feminine, the movement, the emotion, what we felt, what we accumulated, the memory of the soul. And then spirit is always there. It's the all-seeing, it's the presence, it's the consciousness, and it comes and it breathes us, and it wants to make love with that soul consciousness, so that everything she felt, everything she longed for, everything she cried for, everything she was through can be made love to in sweetness. And that is what we are the vessel for. And that is what this process of individuation and of integration in the middle is here to help us do. And here you can play with these archetypes that are living here between the G and the sacral in order to embody more of this energy, the feminine, the masculine, the circulation of life force. Okay, so now what we are looking at for the rest of today is those specific spheres, those specific planetary bodies that are coding. So hopefully you have your own gene key chart in front of you, and hopefully you have your human design chart so you can look at the red side, what your Saturn is by gene key and line. We are going to start with the sign Earth or purpose, right? So this is the purpose sphere, and it is the reason your soul incarnated and what grounds you on Earth.